progress. It's something certain until that surface. Like one step, two step, until that new step. It's me on purpose. It'll all be worth it. Cause I'm in process, a work in progress. It's something certain until that surface. Like one step, two step, until that new step. It's me on purpose. It'll all be worth it. It's I'm in. What's up? In my Martin voice, if you know, you know. Welcome to another episode of the Creative in Process podcast. I am your host, Nia Land. If you're watching this on YouTube, I know you're looking like, how come I can't see you? That's the good thing about podcasts. Like, it's intentionally supposed to be audio, something that you listen to, but, you know, to add a perk if you can see it. But today I am submitting my episode via audio only, so that's why you can't see me. But fret not, that doesn't mean I have no more video episodes to come, because I absolutely do, but just doing things a little bit differently, and I'm gonna make it make sense real quick and within this episode. So hello to you all, wherever you are in the world tuning in. This is episode 4, which means we are at 1 month, the first month of doing the Creative in Process podcast. And I must say, this has been an interesting journey so far. I know that maybe people would stop to reflect on this part of their journey in creating a new podcast or whatever, maybe further down the line. But the way I'm set up, I reflect every single day and week to week. So I'm in that space now. And it's interesting because I'm really grateful at this point for the podcast, because it literally is a process in real time. So it's more than just the title, Creative in Process. Like, it's literally a process in real time, day to day. There's stuff going on there, things happening that are bringing me back to the core of why I created this thing. And so I'm excited to share some of those tidbits with you. So hopefully you are locked in and have been enjoying so far. Maybe this is the first episode that you're hearing because it just, popped up in your notifications as a new episode, or maybe you've been listening from episode 1 on down. Either way, I feel like we got a lot to dig into and to talk about today. So I usually start off with a quote from an artist or somebody that I admire, or just like an interesting quote that I came across. I'm not really going to do that today. And that's because I feel like what I want to dig into kind of is going to jumpstart the conversation, but it's going to come from my own experience and perspective. So I was like, I don't think I can put a quote to this, even though I found some good ones. I'm like, I think I need to just spearhead this from my own experience. So I don't have any deep quote to kick off the whole thing, but I would say if I could title this episode something, it would be, if a tree were to fall in the forest and no one is around to hear it, where's your integrity? And I know that's not how the saying goes, but that's how it's going to go today. So today we're digging into a little thing called integrity, but in a different way. I know the word gets thrown around a lot. It's a buzzword and that sort of thing, but I really want to share it from the perspective that I'm sitting in right now. So I'll share with you. While this is episode 4, I have been working diligently preparing episodes and getting them together. There is actually episodes that I have lying in wait, episodes that have not been released yet that will be released. But I was thinking, I'm like, shit, is it time for me to release this episode? Should I do it right now? And then I was thinking, and I'm like, I feel like I want to interject here at this point, at this 1 month or fourth episode mark, to kind of dig into some of the introspection that has been taking place and just the thoughts that I've been having. And it's centering around integrity in a way. So we can define integrity, because that'll be something that would be maybe helpful to the discussion at hand. But basically, integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles or moral uprightness. And it's the state of being whole and undivided. That's integrity. So sometimes in this process, as the artistic creative, myself included, sometimes we have to juggle being consistent, being productive, with being real and true with where we are and how we are and where we're at. And I think for me, that is really something that I am super conscious of. Maybe conscious to a fault, because I think about it legit all the time. I'm always thinking about, well, if I do this, why am I doing this? Does it make sense to do this? Am I doing it from the right place, from the right mindset, the right heart posture, or am I just doing this to be doing something? So for me, even something as what may be considered as small as deciding what episodes to put out and things like that, I have to sit in thinking about what is going to align with the purpose and the plan and the goals for what it is that I'm putting forth. And am I doing it just because I want to say, look at me, I've done something else, I've got it done, I've checked the box? Or am I doing it because it's like time to do it, or I'm supposed to do it? So getting ready for this next episode, like I said, I was like getting ready to hit y'all with something. And then I was like, you know what? I don't think that if I were to share that at this moment, that it would be integral. Like, it wouldn't be from a place of integrity, because not that there's anything wrong with what I'm going to talk about today or what I plan to talk about in the future, but literally, where am I at? So this podcast, like I said, it came from a place of just some thoughts that I was having in a space of maturity and development and life lessons and learning and all that kind of stuff that I was coming into, and I really wanted to share it. And it's been a passion project for years, but I never pressed go on it. So I was like, let me just step out there and do this, because I kept getting a lot of confirmation that it was time to. So it was like a situation where I'm like, okay, let me put the effort in and do this. So as I was starting the process, no pun intended, of releasing this podcast, all kinds of things were happening. My schedule changed. I went and started doing a lot of musical stuff, recording, performing, all this kind of stuff. So because of that, my schedule was really crazy. And then personal life, everyday stuff happening. So I'm like getting it done, really excited about it. But at the same time, I'm like, oof, I am trying to figure out my time management and getting all this stuff together. So once I got the time kind of structured and I began to get things situated and start moving on, getting stuff done, then, more things happened, more things came up. And for a second, I was starting to just whatever, just do it. Let's just get it done. Let's just get it out. Let's just, that sort of attitude. And I had to check myself very recently, because for me, I like to be intentional about everything. And I want to make sure that I position the things that I do in a way that it can reach as many people as possible. As many, not from a numbers, views, likes kind of scale, but the people that it's meant to reach, I want to give them an opportunity to have access to it, that kind of thing. So in my brain of planning this and doing that and going here and all that kind of stuff, I did not put forth as much energy as I could into actually promoting the podcast. And it's a twofold thing, because it can be a situation where it's just put it out there, just make the jump, get it going type of thing, and let people gravitate to it over time, which is still the plan and the goal. And it's not I'm waiting until, I get a certain level of notoriety before I share it. That's not my intention at all. But I will say, there was a part of me in the planning phase where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it this way, or I'm going to make some room for this and that. And I didn't it was so much going on like in my life that I'm like, oh my God, like, let me just put this out there and forget about all of the other bells and whistles I wanted to put on this thing, because I just don't have the energy. Like, I am tired. It's so much happening. Things are popping up left and right. I got to be here, got to go here, do that, perform, record, schedule, all this kind of stuff. So when I think about now, like I said, getting to this 4th episode, I'm looking back and I'm like, man, I really wish I would have had the time, or like put the time in to maybe do some more promotional stuff, some more marketing, blah, 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 this and that, and things like that. Even down to like me putting out the theme song / music video, which, love, and you can please go check it out. But I'm not really a surprise release person. But I'm cool with it. Like, I'm down with it, because for me, I like to see what works, what doesn't work, what people gravitate to, what they don't. So I probably in any other situation probably wouldn't have like just dropped the song, dropped the video. But I'm okay with that now, because I feel like it did, and it is giving people a chance to discover without me touching it, and just kind of organically see what happens when I don't do anything or don't do much or whatever. So I'm okay with it, but at the same time, the way that I'm wired, I like to plan stuff out in a different kind of way and all that. But life is happening, and number one, I had to give myself grace for life happening to me, around me, all that kind of stuff. And so because of that, maybe some things fell by the wayside, and I'm not in no way, shape, or form complaining about the status of like this podcast and, oh man, it's not like at 1 million views, and I don't care about like numbers. I'll get into this probably on another episode, but remind me to tell you about the time that my entire social media crashed and disappeared the day I released a project, the day of the project release. And it took me now going on, it took about a year or two to get it back fully, and then another 2 years to like rebrand and rebuild everything. So we'll talk about that later. But saying that to say, like, I'm not concerned about numbers. It changed my whole perspective about that kind of thing. But I do also appreciate the gift and the good parts about like social media and being able to share your project online and how it can reach the entire world and all that kind of stuff. So I am pretty much a nerd for figuring certain things out and, digging into what makes things work and all that kind of stuff. But I'm still, figuring it all out to see what works for me and all that. But anyway, in the midst of all of those things, it would be less productive and less purposeful for me to just dump content and not take a pause to embrace the moments that I'm in, to embrace the time that I'm in, to embrace even what is a gift is this podcast. It's a gift because it's not something that I just felt like I'm gonna do because I feel like it. Like, I literally had to be very much like convicted about doing it. I had to really be inspired to do it. And that's not something that you can necessarily make happen. You can't make yourself be inspired by something. You can't make yourself feel compelled to do something. You just are. So doing this podcast, I was definitely compelled to do it because I really believe at some point, and I'm seeing it now, like I see your comments and all of that, like on the YouTube page. You all can still go to creativeandprocess.com where you can leave your feedback, your thoughts, your questions, and all that kind of stuff. I've been getting some stuff on social media that I'm gonna share, but that's like the hub for where you can share stuff more directly and I can get it easier. But I've been seeing, the different conversations, the encouragements, the feedback about the project, about the podcast at this point, and it's been amazing to see. But I want to make sure and continue to make sure that I'm taking those moments to make sure that I am delivering from the place of what this project was intended to be. So that's where I am now in sorting things out. So I just want to basically just kind of pop in, say hello again, and think about some of the ways I'm going to rework the the outreach to make sure that, this is reaching who it needs to reach, and taking that time. And sometimes the message, I guess, in this whole thing is to say that, like, it's okay to be working on something. It's okay to be in the process of doing something. And I'll say this. I'm not saying specifically for me that this is what this is, but it's okay to hit a wall if that means that it gives you a jolt, or it gives you, sometimes that has to happen. I'll say that. I won't say it's okay. Like, make sure you aiming for the wall. Make sure you in position so that when that wall comes, you hit it. I'm not saying that. Sometimes the wall happens and you don't know that you're hitting a wall. And then when you hit the wall, you're like, ooh, I just hit this wall. Why? And you start to, kind of scale things back or look back at the situation to see what led to that impact. But I'm not saying I'm hitting a wall with the podcast or anything for me, but I'm saying I'm definitely open and trying to be reflective of when stuff isn't all that it could be. Not that it's all that I plan it to be, because as we know, plans change and all of that. But when it's not feeling like I'm giving my all, and I know I'm supposed to be, and I know I have the ability to, but for whatever reason, I'm not there yet, that's a place to step back and to reset and to reevaluate and all of that. And that takes integrity, because I could absolutely do all of the things, never stop and say anything or give any transparency about anything, and go on with it and let the world think that I got it together. But the way I'm wired, I can't do that. I was having some conversations lately, and I was like talking about how I don't know how to be phony. I know people can do it, and I know people like fake it till you make it and that kind of thing. But I was recently in a room with some individuals that, I'll say we're just not on the same page about some things in life right now. And there was an opportunity that I presented for conversation to resolve and to get an understanding. And that opportunity was kind of ignored, or just not taken seriously enough to where it's like, well, let's figure this out. But the counter of it was, let's just act like nothing happened and just continue to be just like smiley, hey, and what they say in nowadays is kiki. Or that's kind of what I began to start calling it. Like, I can't kiki with you. I don't know how to. So I'm realizing how I can't, even when I have the option to like show up and make it look a certain way. I don't know how to do that. I'll just not come. I just will not attend if I feel like I'm gonna have to show up and be something more than or less than what I am, or act in a way that is not my character, or act like something is cool when it isn't, and that sort of thing. So I'm realizing that more and more about myself, that it's like I would probably just need to make some decisions about what rooms or what places I go if I know that I'm not feeling it, because I wear that on my face. You know how, like, you ever known someone who you gotta check them, like, girl, your face, the dude, your face, like, fix your face. I am that person, not because I'm like turning my face up at something, but very much so, like, if it ain't clicking, you gonna see something on my face where it's like, huh? Like, and I don't realize I'm doing it. So it's like, I need like a mask or put a bag over my head or something, because I'm not gonna be able to fake that. Sorry. And that kind of leads back into that integrity piece. Like, integrity meaning, like, I could do it this way. I could show up this way, but I gotta be honest with me and how I am. And I gotta be real about the fact that I'm not feeling this, or whatever the case may be. So integrity is for us. Like, we have integrity for us, and then we have honesty for others. I recently heard someone say that. It might have been like a pastor or something like that. I might be tripping. I can't quote. So if someone's listening, like, you got that from so-and-so, I probably did. I can't, but I recently heard that. Like, we are honest for everybody else, but we have integrity for ourselves. So that means you tell the truth when you're going day to day and you have conversations with people. But that integrity piece means that when nobody is around and there's no one to even hold you accountable to telling the truth, you still do it anyway, or you make the right decisions anyway because you have integrity. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. So nothing horrible or bad, going on in the moment. I'm just simply saying I want to give the Creative and Process podcast room to grow, and I want to see it expand and reach the audiences and the people that are supposed to reach it, which means I have to do some work to make sure that they can find it. So that is what I wanted to share. So it may not seem, if you've been listening to the other episodes leading up to now, it may not seem like the same kind of format, and that's cool. I switch it up anyway. That's just how I am. I'm very flexible with adapting to different things to see what works. But I really just wanted to tell you all that. Like, I just wanted to tell you about that revelation that I came to and how it is shaping the way that not only I'm going forward in creating this podcast, but just like my day-to-day, being able to stop and say, yep, I have stuff on the schedule, I have stuff on my to-do list, but being able to say, even if it means I can't make this event, I can't do this thing, I can't, participate in whatever this thing is, even if I can't do that, it's okay if my reason for not doing it is to preserve my integrity. Because if I show up, if I do the thing, if I participate in the thing with the wrong heart, with the wrong mindset, it's not going to be worth it anyway. It might jack some people up. It might cause some people to go in a wrong direction because I'm feeding them out of that place of, whether it be disgruntlement, if that's a word, somewhere in there, or like coming from a place of just disdain or just not really being in it, not really feeling it. You ever been to, it could be like a concert of some sort where you go see a performer and they are just like barely giving you anything, like it's not giving at all. And you leave and you like, man, I loved their music and, I love this artist, but ooh, they was not on it tonight. And then you may hear later about a story where like, yeah, this thing happened and I was really, affected by it and it affected my performance and that kind of thing. Like, people feel that. So I could show up, sing the song, sound great, but if there's something going on in me, those that are meant to receive it, like those that I put it out there for, they're gonna feel that something is off. So that's why everything, like even when it comes to writing a song or recording, I have to be in the right mindset. Now, deadlines and stuff can happen and it's like, oh, you got to get this done by Wednesday. And I could do it, but if you give me the time to really release it when I can, truly give my all into it, it's going to be a lot better. So that's just how I feel about a lot of things. And so I want you to consider giving yourself grace to do it from the right place and not just do it to get it done. So that's what the integrity conversation would come down to. Yes, you can get it done. You can knock it out. You can do this project. You can do all of these things, create this product, release this thing. But if you don't do it with thought, with intention, with integrity, with heart, then what is it for? And how long is that going to last? What is that going to do? Because then you rush and do all of these things and you release it and then nobody wants it because it doesn't have the love in it. You know how I will say in my culture, because anybody can be listening to this from anywhere, but like in the Black African American culture, different elements of African culture, we talk about our food and how our food, homemade food, has a different taste on it than just going and grabbing something from the fast food place or whatever. It's made with love. Like, have you ever been to, like, let's be honest, have you ever been to McDonald's and ate McDonald's and be like, oh, they put their foot in this burger, or like, like, oh my gosh, this hamburger just made with so much love. These processed French fries, they just taste like grandma's, you don't say that. Like, you don't say that. And that's why, like, you have like your smaller mom and pop restaurants that you may go to, because it's like you can taste the love that was put in it. I don't know that McDonald's has that in their recipe, to be honest. Like, no shade to McDonald's. If you want to have a conversation with me about, brand marketing, brand partnerships, I'm here. We can have that conversation. But I'm just saying, like, that's something that's more of like a manufactured thing versus something that comes from an individual one-on-one. So in our culture, like I was saying with our food, there is a love that's put in the food that makes it what it is. So that's why you may hear someone say, like, oh, my grandmother makes this potato salad, which my grandmother does, or this dressing, which my other grandmother does. And it's like, it's something about that. Like, I can eat it somewhere else, but it ain't gonna hit like it's gonna hit, from my grandmother's house, because they put love in it. They put something else in there that can't be manufactured or bought. So that is why when we create and we release stuff, it's very important that it comes from the right heart and the right mindset, because you are giving people something to consume that needs to be attached to love in some kind of way. It has to be attached to love. And if it's not, you're giving them whatever else is attached to it, which could be hatred, anger, frustration, fatigue, sleepiness, sickness, all those kinds of things. If you're creating in that zone, that's what they're going to get. So just something to be mindful of for my artistic, creative folks, or just people that do anything, like whatever your day-to-day job may be, your role, whatever you're passionate about that you share with the world. Think about how you release that and how you give that, and how what you give can affect everybody else if you're giving it from the wrong place in your heart and in your mind. So that's kind of all I want to share today. So thank you for being with me up into episode 4 of the Creative in Process podcast. This is a great journey for me, and it's actually very healing for me to be able to share in depth, because I do a lot of writing in my songwriting and things like that, but it's really cool to be able to just openly share. And what's cool about having a podcast that's not maybe the top podcast in the world and millions of people listen to it, I can say stuff and it's for who it's for. Like, some people may never hear this side of me or hear this perspective that I have, because they're not tuned in, which is fine. But it's like, at least I have a safe place to release it, and something that I can share with you, something that I don't mind getting out there that's just kind of hard to express in other avenues or on different platforms. So this is a way for me to share these things, not just blurting out stuff or just saying something because I want to hear myself talk, or I want to get this off my chest or whatever, but really being able to share openly and honestly, so that you can literally be a part of my process as you process, and you bring the perspective from your process into this, and together we're just learning and growing and sharing and moving and all of that. So I'm excited to be here. And yeah, that is episode 4 of the Creative in Process podcast. So as always, you know what to do. Share your feedback, please. And if you are new here and this is your first time listening, go back and listen to the future episodes. Go back and watch. You can watch on YouTube and share your thoughts, because I want to know what your journey is, what your process is too, because it helps me, and there's probably a perspective or a thought that maybe I haven't considered yet that you have. So I want to hear it. So thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back with more, and yeah, have a good day. Whatever time you're tuning into this, I hope that this has been an encouragement and an inspiration to you in all of the things. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Creative in Process podcast. Peace out. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you want to learn more about the podcast, you can go to creativeinprocess.com, where you can sign up for email alerts, connect on social media, and submit your feedback, thoughts, and questions to have them included in a future episode. If you want to connect with me directly, you can find me at Nealand Music on all social media platforms. And please like, comment, share, subscribe, tell somebody about this podcast, because it only goes as far as you help it grow. I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.